Imagine being denied a job in your own country because of your color of your skin, and then they call it a positive discrimination. The UK doesn't have to imagine. So the Council of Karens, this is another one of their greatest hits. Police force blocks white applicants to boost diversity. And let's see here. Yorkshire Police is currently preventing white British let's go ahead and find out. And West Yorkshire Police is currently preventing white British applicants from applying for jobs as recruits to its police constable interview programs. However, underrepresented groups can lodge their applications early. The process has raised concerns that white British candidates are being unfairly treated, amounting to a form of positive discrimination that could be potentially unlawful. YTP, the fourth largest force in the country, employs 19 diversity DEI staff, many of them serving police officers at a cost of just over $1 million a year. A report earlier this month suggested it spends more money on DEI than any other force. Man, why am I not surprised? Oh my God. So this was yesterday?
Make up 23% of the population of that area. And actually, within the police force, it's only something like
9%. Yeah, 9% of officers are from an ethnic minority.
Because of that gap, they argue that it's justified to do lots of extra work to make it easier and to attract more people from non-white communities. And I would just go on to say that what they're actually doing here, and again, they don't deny this.
Well, they're exercising racist quotas, right? I mean, that's clearly what's happening. That's obviously what's happening. How is it? It's so obvious.
Is West Yorkshire Police are fast tracking, hand holding, and giving a whole raft of extra special help to candidates from non-white backgrounds.
See, this is one of the things that a lot of people might not understand, is that in some circumstances, they don't actually practice any degree of racial preferencing while hiring, but they provide a runway, a landing strip, a concierge service, a first-class, meal ticket plan, and everything for the people that are coming in that are part of these other groups. So they effectively make it easier in a lot of other ways that make it to where getting that application in the door is a lot easier for them to do.
And I think that's unfair. And I think it's wrong. And I think people expect the best candidates to get the job, not candidates who are color-coded.
Exactly right. And I say this is arguably racist.
It's not arguably racist. It's racist. If you're hiring people based off of their race, you're being racist. Like, it's really simple. If you're giving people preferences, benefits, advantages, or opportunities because of their skin color, you're practicing racism. There's not really any fine print here. It's obvious everybody knows this. The only people that don't know this are people that are trying not to know it.
So the situation right now is essentially white people, young white people seeking a career in policing, if they happen to live in the West Yorkshire area, need not apply. You won't be considered.
And this is another instance where, like, men get fucked over more than women. Because obviously, police officers, who generally wants to become a police officer? Yeah, there's women police officers, but this is primarily a male-dominated field. This is one of the reasons why I think Europe is going to elect a person that is going to be extremely far right and extremely anti-immigration. Like, I don't want to say that it's going to be as bad as Hitler. I mean, it's hard to say whether that's going to happen because it kind of depends on, like, what happens between now and then. But I think that they're going to elect somebody like that pretty fucking soon. It'll be an overcorrection. Yes, it will be.
And one of the most shocking aspects of this, as you suggested, or as you said, Isabel, is that Yorkshire Police are actually proud of this. They call it positive action. I'm going to read out the statement a spokesperson for West Yorkshire Police said, here we go, The most recent census found that 23% of people in West Yorkshire identified as being from an ethnic minority background. Our current police officer representation from ethnic minority backgrounds is around 9%. To address this underrepresentation, we use positive action under the Equality Act 2010. Our use of this was recently reviewed by His Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue Services in an activism and impartiality inspection, and no issues were identified. Well, I've got a lot of issues to identify here. As I say, you know, they've obviously gone into the details of this Equality Act, and they brought in a policy that is the very epitome of inequality.
Of course it is.
Whites need not apply. You're not going to get a job if you're British and white right now in West Yorkshire Police.
Yeah, this is probably a Karen policy. I can almost guarantee it. But yeah, of course, this is what happens. I mean, it's kind of insane to see something like this go down, but there it is. I mean, I'm really shocked that people over there put up with it, but I think the reason why a lot of people put up with it and the reason why it's so accepted is very simple. It's because I think that people are afraid of being labeled as like a racist or some kind of bad person, and so they're kind of like pressured into silence. They're afraid to speak out against it, and they're afraid to, like, I mean, to be honest, like even this guy in the video, right? It's like it might be racist. It's not. There's no might about it. It's a definitive reality. And so even then, people are talking around it and they're not addressing it directly. And I'm telling you guys, what's going to happen with this is that it's going to radicalize and alienate enough young people, and this is especially true with young men. It's going to radicalize and alienate enough young men, and they're going to eventually elect somebody that is going to be so draconian and overcorrect so much that it's not going to be a good thing. But to them, it will be. Like, I'll give you a really good example. So the idea of us sending a bunch of people to El Salvador to put them in like super jail for the rest of their lives, this isn't really a great thing to do, but the reason why Americans are okay with it in a general sense is because they've been pushed to a point where they feel like that's the only option that they have. People have been up to their fucking, basically just out of their fucking minds dealing with illegal immigration. They have been out of their minds dealing with being called racist for not wanting illegal immigration, and they're just fucking tired of it. And so they say, not only are we okay with getting rid of all of them, but we're going to send them to a maximum security jail on the other side of the fucking world without really even due process, and rip bozo too bad. And I guarantee you the UK is going to do the same thing. That's exactly what it's going to be, because you can't disenfranchise people like this. You can't systematically, disadvantage them and then expect them not to lash out. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And the other side of the world, well, I mean, it's at the bottom, right? I mean, fuck. But whatever you want to call it, that's it. And making everything extremely tedious and boring for no reason and entertainment. Yeah, exactly. Who cares about murderers, drug dealers, rapists, and gang members? I don't. Well, my point is that, I think that really some of those people, like, this is what I think a lot of Americans think. And I think it's what the majority of Americans think, actually. At least the voting majority. Is that even if some illegal immigrants get sent to El Salvador accidentally, and they were not a murderer or a rapist, too bad. That's it. And they might not say that, but that's the truth. They don't really give a shit. And so anyway, womp womp, I don't care. Yeah, exactly. Skill issues shouldn't have been here to begin with, right? And so how did we get to this point? Well, we got to this point because every single honest conversation in good faith about legal immigration and illegal immigration was shut down by accusations of racism. So when you shut down people's ability to have any opinion, and here's an interesting way to look at it, is that when you call somebody racist for even daring to have an opinion that's on the spectrum, what if one day they decide to say, fuck it, I guess I'm just going to be racist? And I think that's what's happened with a lot of these people. And I think it's going to continue getting worse and continue getting more extreme. Yeah, that's how you know, exactly. when word stop action starts. Yes. And these people have totally shut down any sort of a reasonable conversation about this. They've completely maligned anybody who has had any trepidation about this as being some form of bad person. And they have engaged in character assassination towards those people in a way that average people are afraid of. To be honest with you, people are afraid of being labeled these things because they could get ostracized by their friends, they could be fired from their job, they could lose potential employment opportunities in the future. And there are all of these things that these labels and this type of stuff, like I'll give you an example. Think about all of the bad stuff that people say about me. People say I'm a genocide supporter. They say I'm a Holocaust denier, which is like, that's crazy, right? But they say it, they call me a Nazi. Do you think that this helps me or hurts me? It definitely hurts me. And it definitely is not, it would be better if people didn't say that. And in terms of like, being able to deal with brands and stuff like that, it is absolutely detrimental to say that about people. And so the problem with what those people might not realize is that if you call somebody that for long enough, they're going to eventually not even be willing to come to the table with any reasonability with you. And they're just going to say and do whatever the fuck they want, right? And so when you shut down reasonable conversation, the only conversation that remains is unreasonable conversation. And so that's really what happens. That's why I say it. Yeah, you're fine. I like you. Well, no, of course I'm going to be fine. Of course I'm going to be fine. But think about what would happen to somebody that's not in my position. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm in a very unique position. I'm very lucky to be in this position. It's because of you guys. Thank you, by the way. But the fact is that many other people don't have that privilege that I have. They can't push back against this. So when they say something and they go, slightly off of the path that they're supposed to be on, they immediately get, slapped down, and they lose opportunities, and they get afraid, and they have to apologize and capitulate. And the problem is that the people that are attacking them are malicious, vicious, malignant losers. And that's really all they are. And I think that to the extent that people are afraid of them is the extent that they exist. And that's why anytime that somebody gets canceled by any of this stuff, and this is why I'm pretty mean to those people and I'm pretty rough with them, is that that's what they do to other people. And I will continue doing this as long as I can. And I will do my best to eradicate this type of thinking and this type of behavior as much as possible. And I find them to be awful. And I'll do that as much as I can. High five. Yes, exactly. And, that's why I watch you. Yeah. And I think that the best way to eradicate these people, by the way, is to approach them in their own spaces and shut them down, be as aggressive and hostile as possible, and show them that they're not the majority. And these people work on the operation of consensus. They and a lot of people that support them work on the operation of consensus. And so as soon as you can show that there's not a consensus, then you can break their entire worldview. Because the entire worldview that they have is based around carefully censoring anybody in order to create a manufactured consensus that makes anybody who disagree with them feel like they're in the vast minority. But I think that as you saw with Trump getting elected again, as you're seeing with a lot of other parties, like even the AfD in Germany, like they have polling now, it shows the AfD is like the #1 party, or at least it's tied with #1. People are just tired of that. There's so much diminishing returns, and that's what it's been. They're bullied. Oh my God, this is insanity. It is, and that's the reason why you have to push back against it. That's the exact reason. And so anyway, that's really what I think that a lot of people need to pick up on. Bad ideas must be criticized. Yeah, I think so. And HR Karens and corporate woke nonsense. Yeah, you have to speak out against it and attack it directly. And but won't that aggressive approach have its own consequences just from the left being overly aggressive? The pendulum will just keep swinging? Yeah, it will, but it's better for you to be in charge of the weapons than for them. And I think that in a lot of cases that it's better for you to it's better for you to control the ability to do that than for them to control the ability to do that. And I think that to the extent that you shirk that responsibility and that accountability, then other people like that will take on to it. Who's them? I think people on social media that try to get you canceled, get you banned, get you in trouble, and try to like bully you for having an opinion that's not of their political opinion, and then that come up with labels for you and lie about you in order to get you in trouble. And so that's it. And so, yeah, Karens, basically, yeah, cancel Karens. Like, that's what I'm talking about. It's pretty clear. But, yeah. Everything people said about you was a lie once I started watching. Well, I think that the important thing, it's not that it's a lie, it's that you have to show that those people are liars, number one, and number two, that they're not the majority. And I think that you do that by a relentless approach to just immediately calling it out and shutting it down as much as possible. And that's what I try to do nowadays. And I see it constantly, and I wish that more people would do the same thing. But I think that the more that I do it, the more that other people will start doing it as well.